101.5 KOCI Cannabis Talk 101. Alongside of me is the Pot Brothers of Law. My name is Blue, and we have an amazing show for you guys today. We have an awesome guest, but before we get into the guest, Craig, tell us what's going on in cannabis news.
Well, we had a nice federal district court ruling that found that marijuana residue in trash does not justify the search of a home for drugs.
Wow.
Hey,
let's give
that's
that
a victory. That's a victory for us. We
are
got to take
arguing
them
because there was a few roaches and some residue in the trash can that there must have been a drug house going on.
Wow.
And a judge gave a warrant for that.
Wow.
And
now, was there other things going on, or is that that's it? What state is this in? Do you know? Not sure.
Not in California.
Thank God. Oh, thank you.
It's out of the Washington Post, actually.
Well,
but it's a good start. No matter where it starts with the states, from state to state, it's at least something that happened in a state, and somebody up there did the right thing.
It's a little excessive. Like. If you're just somebody's digging through your trash already, I'm questioning what he's on. Let alone what
the funny thing is the case that the court relied upon that's been decided by the Supreme Court.
Wow.
Is this McPherson case where it dealt with a guy who got caught with crack just coming out of his house, steps out of his house, closes the door, they nab him, search him, he's got the crack cocaine, they search the house, find more, and the Supreme Court felt that there was not justification just because he had it in his person. That meant that he had something going on in the house without any other facts.
Sure.
To show that there's dealing going on or storing of drugs.
Someone just said, you walked out of your house. But,
you have it on you, you must have a drug house. That's basically what they're saying.
Well, generally, you have to think of it like this, though. The cops got to know the house in order to just show up at that house and walk out and nab this guy and be like, crackhead, it doesn't work like that, guys. So this guy had to have, either had priors or something funny was going on at that house, because I just can't imagine.
That the cops could have said, we were surveilling him for 3 months. We were watching him. We thought this, we thought that. There was foot traffic.
And in this instance, it sounds like we had an officer who told the truth.
What, he just walked up and said, hey.
I'm not exactly sure of it, but the only reason he gave on the search warrant was because how and why they found him, I have no idea. But the only reason on the search warrant was, I found him outside his house, in the trash. I found him outside his house with crack. I want to go in. That was the only reason.
Well,
as opposed to what you're saying is, if they had said, I seen him come in and out, I saw people going there at different hours of the night,
spooky house.
Saw all this stuff, that's a whole different story.
Well,
but it still is a victory for those who may have a little bit of residue in their trash can.
Well, I think...
we all raise our hand, please?
Yeah, no.
Where do you put the residue?
No, you're invoking the fifth. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Don't say nothing.
That was a test.
No, yeah, right. So, no, but sincerely, on that case, I would have to say that, some cop didn't just randomly come up with that. Logistically, something's going on at that house. There's some kind of weird people. And so I get it.
But even though he knew this guy, he didn't put any other reason in the reasons for the warrant.
Right, which shouldn't be the reason.
Right.
I agree with that.
That alone.
Sure.
And that was it. So if there was more, then they probably it wouldn't have been suppressed.
And so now, is this, in what, do we know, it's just a certain state?
It's a federal district ruling, so in federal court.
That's a good thing.
It narrows down reasonable cause. Definitely.
Nice.
And then there's what's a hot button topic with 64 passing recreation. It's always been is there a way to test marijuana DUI? And they're saying there might be, but the science says that it's almost impossible, because if you're a long-time user, you may have as much THC in your system that's not affecting you anymore 3-4 weeks down the road.
Right. But you know what? All that is irrelevant, because the issue is impairment. Are you impaired? Is it impairing you? Your nanograms and how many you have or whatever. It's so different than alcohol that they they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with it. These DUI pots are very hard to convict because you're typically not getting pulled over for driving up a sidewalk or erratically. You're getting pulled over because your blinker or with your light or whatever, or your tags. And then they smell it and they become like a dog in heat and they want that DUI.
You know, one of the things that you have to consider too is that, you know, someone's been smoking for 30 years of their life, and then you're going to come in and test them. They have THC. I mean, deeply rooted in
more
their
than 8
system.
nanograms.
Yeah, I mean, their tongue is you know is.
They're going to ask me, "How are you walking?"
Their girlfriend's going to get high kissing them. She's all, I'm buzzing, babe.
The ironic part is, and I have to go back and look at my Prop 64 notes, but in this article, a Dr. Igor Grant, chairman of the psychiatry department at UC San Diego, where he says your blood count will peak within minutes of smoking, but then drop quickly as cannabis is absorbed into the body tissue.
Sure.
And so you're high. You don't last that high for that long as you do with alcohol.
No, I don't think it impairs you the same either. I mean, you know.
Well, he said that the difference in impairment is that the drunk guy is going to go speeding down the freeway, probably killing people, thinking he can drive, and the guy who's too high. And it's probably not the safest thing, and you should get pulled over and be impaired driving if you're going 20 and a 50.
Sure.
Okay, but you're not going to kill anybody, probably. You know, that's like the worst case scenario, or most likely you're just
not going to drive.
I'm too high. I'm not going to drive.
No, you're going to be going 30 in a 50-mile-an-hour zone because you're super high. You'll be driving too slow.
And then you should get pulled over because if you're doing that slow, that is still dangerous.
If you're driving that slow,
that's still dangerous. So you
is.
should, and that's the key. What my brother was saying is.
Who's your brother?
Who's your brother? The experts.
I was acknowledged by my brother.
This guy
The
here?
experts are saying it's impairment. Were they swerving? Were they going 20 and a 50? I mean, apparently something's wrong with them. But if you just get pulled over for taillight, blinker, speeding, a normal speeding ticket, they have no reason to do anything else or talk to you any further or ask you anything, especially now in light of 64 where smell is no longer cause to search your car.
So talking about DUIs in California,
correct.
You can refuse to do the on-site field sobriety test along with the on-site breathalyzer. Only after you get arrested and they take you to the station do you have to do a blood, breath, or urine test from the implied consent law by getting your license.
So wait a minute.
That is state to state. Got to be clear on that. This is just California. Because this article I was reading regarding the impairment, they have out in Massachusetts, it appears, because I didn't look up the law, I don't practice there, but it appears, unless the reporter got it wrong, that in Massachusetts you need to do those.
Yeah, no. There are definite states where you have to do it, but California is not one of them.
It's voluntary.
And it's voluntary, and you never do it.
Well,
let
me ask you guys something, because this brings up a good point. I'm driving down this freeway, and I haven't been smoking, but I have, 100 pounds in my trunk. It smells. So that is no longer probable cause to get into my vehicle?
Correct.
As of now or 2018?
As of now.
Right now.
So when they pull you out of the car, because they're going to, and you refuse the right to, right? And then you use what these gentlemen teach you right here to STFU, and that's to not say anything when the cops, and they say, why'd you pull me over, and go through the script. Then is that permissible to be thrown out? Because
Correct. Correct.
Because you're going to say, why did you search my vehicle? And they're going to say, well, it smelled like marijuana. Well, you're wrong, because that's what they're trained to do, and I think that they're
correct.
Oh, they're going to still do
correct.
it.
And if you
let's give that a round of applause, guys.
The best part is because you've listened to us and are set up as a cooperative corporation.
Right.
Not only are we going to get it all thrown out, we're going to get it all back.
Wow, but it's going to be ruined by the time it gets back.
Not necessarily.
No?
No.
Not necessarily. It's
That's
true.
awesome.
We move swiftly if we have to.
To be honest with you, that's a game changer, and I think that's going to happen a whole lot, because people are going to be driving with large amounts of cannabis or even small amounts, and then the cop's just going to step out of the vehicle, and he's not going to have a right to do that. I think they're going to search the vehicle, and then they're going to find out that if the participant...
And you can have it on your front seat under 64, as long as it's not an open container. We say put it in your trunk, it's just easier. But it doesn't say put it in the trunk out of sight. It just says no open container. So if it's bundled up and it's really good and it smells really good,
If you want to test your rights, that's the way to test it. Leave it up there and see if cop pulls you over and see what happens. Because they're gonna do what they're gonna do until they find out that they really can't do it. So I'm sure cases will come along where, hey, I smell. Well, there's cases now. We have cases right now that will impact whether or not the cops were able to smell it and search because of 64. So we'll see what happens. But I have some stuff out of Mendocino County that was really interesting. We were talking last week about 64, and all the felonies are now all misdemeanors. Felonies, a bunch of felonies are now misdemeanors. But in Mendocino County, the DA is filing felony conspiracy to commit medical marijuana crimes, felony charges to commit misdemeanor offenses, which is they can do that. There are felonies.
So they're saying if people go, hey, it's not a felony anymore to move 5 pounds, so it's just a misdemeanor. Hell, I don't care. I'll just do 5 pounds then. I'll just move it. Exposure's only half a year in jail and a fine.
No, but now if you're doing it with 2 or more people, it's a felony conspiracy now.
If you're doing what?
If you're doing that with 2 or more people.
It's committing misdemeanors. If you're committing misdemeanors, they're going after you for felony conspiracy.
Yes, in Mendocino County, they're starting to do that, and I bet we're going to see an uptick in that also.
It's their way around the felonies.
Right.
Felony cultivation, felony possession.
But as you just mentioned, if you're set up as a proper cooperative operating the way you should, then you have your defense all intact.
Right. There's no problem.
Wow.
And we still get that 100 back.
That's right. That 100 pack is coming back.
That's right.
That's the new tag right there. The 100 pack is coming back, yo. No, that's good to know. I mean, sincerely, people at home, if you're driving in your vehicles and just remember, if you do have marijuana in the car and it smells like marijuana, it is no longer probable cause. And so you don't have to discuss your day with them. You don't have to tell them what's going on in the vehicle. And it's in your best interest not to. So I think it's the smartest thing to do is just STFU.
Just keep you out of trouble.
And just let them do
Because they'll go on their way. They'll go on to the next person who's going to talk to them.
You just let them do what they're going to do. And
it's like the security device for your car you put on the steering wheel. The guy's going to break in is just going to go to the next one who doesn't have it. It'll be that much easier.
Yeah, that's true.
And we find that all the time because we had people recently, people still think, well, if I don't discuss my day, they're going to think I'm hiding something. And aren't they more likely to arrest me?
And then I'm not cooperating.
No, you're cooperating with everything they tell you to do.
Well, here's
except you don't have to talk to them. You can assert your constitutional rights to
remain
silent. Not incriminate yourself.
Good practice is doing it when you don't have anything in the car.
Absolutely.
And so you 90% of the time you shouldn't have anything in the vehicle. So if you do get pulled over, it's good practice just to practice the script and then. That way you can kind of understand what to expect. And then if they take action on it, you can actually walk away.
I want to make a point, though, before we go off on this segment is, as far as the impaired driving goes, everybody knows if they're impaired or not. When you medicate, do not drive impaired. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Uber.
Drunk drivers, I can say that to people who get impaired by medicating, because you do know. But if I told an alcoholic or a drunk, hey, you're too drunk, don't get in there, they're going to fight me for the keys.
They want to punch.
They're going to fight me for the keys. You're going to probably hand me the keys and go, all right, I'll see you in about an hour, whatever. But so I just want the people out there driving, be safe, be careful, do not drive impaired.
Be smart, guys. 101.5 KOCI Cannabis Talk 101. After these breaks, we will have some awesome guests, and we'll be right back. 101.5 KOCI Cannabis Talk 101. My name is Blue. Alongside of me are the Pot Brothers Law, and we are back. Mark, who do we have on the show set today?
Well, we have Jim Fitzpatrick from Solutioneers. He's former chairman, Costa Mesa's Planning Commission, and he's also involved in Costa Mesa's Measure X, which recently passed. He's working on permits and licensing. And we also have Mathew Morgan, who is the CEO of Reef dispensaries, and I believe they're out of Arizona and Nevada. And they're both here to talk about whatever we want to.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give these folks a round of applause.
Thanks for having us, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.
So, okay, let's just pop right into this. So, Matthew, tell us a little bit about your company here. I know that it's based out of Nevada.
Our corporate headquarters is in